Good morning. Welcome in to another live edition of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. I am Mike Kadlick. I am joined by Alex Barth from 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Patriots stole the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft last night. What a night. It's the first time in a long time I felt with conviction that the Patriots did the first round right. We'll get into all of it. I want to shout out FanDuel because we're sponsored by FanDuel. I bet 6-1 odds a month ago on FanDuel, the Patriots' first round pick would be a cornerback. So that was exciting. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Place your first $5 bet. And you get $200 in bonus bets. And so, again, go to it, FanDuel.com/Boston. That's who we are sponsored by here. So, Alex, let's get right into it. 14th overall pick. Patriots trade back. Everyone's like, the Patriots trade back again. They trade back again. Oh, my God, they always trade back. 3 spots. I was like, good stuff. Fine with it. Pick up an additional 4th.
Screw the Jets in the process.
Screw the Jets in the process. Yes, they let the Steelers jump them for Broderick Jones after they, man, you know, as much as we talk about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and I said they could win the division, they move back, they get jumped, and it's like, here they go, and then they sort of reach for Lucas Van Ness, in my opinion. So, crazy for them.
No, they took Will McDonald.
Oh, no, Will McDonald. That's even more worried.
That was like a Cole Strange-ish pick by them. Like was, I don't know what happened with Nolan Smith, but you had Miles Murphy, I believe, was still on the board there as well. Like that was a bizarre pick by the Jets. I think they panicked. I think they thought they were getting Broderick Jones and they panicked.
That's Bill. Again, Bill doing it to them there. So, but they fall. They go back to 17, and then they get arguably the best corner in the draft and a potential top 10 pick in Christian Gonzalez. So we'll get to all of it. Alex, I want to get your initial thoughts, but the one thing I'll say on that is just as it was happening and as I saw Gonzalez keep falling, I was like, is there something here? Is there an injury that nobody knows about? Is there something wrong with him? Because again, we've talked about it on the show. We thought that if he was there at 14 in all our mock drafts, we weren't going to take him because that could have been a respect the board situation.
Right. Bill, shout out to Bill for not respecting the board, by the way. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So it's like, why are we going to take Gonzalez here? He's not going to be here. And he goes. And so in my head, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But then you look back and, you know, you think about how the draft went. It's like, it just fell their way. It kind of just fell their way. And so really good stuff. A 6'1", 6'2" corner who's going to be able to lock down the outside for them against a tough division in the AFC East with, you know, top tier number 1 wide receivers. So, let's get into it. Your thoughts?
So just to the point you just made about why did he fall, you know, it's more alarming if all these corners go and he's still on the board. But you had Devin Witherspoon win at the top of the draft, which I think people thought if it wasn't Gonzalez, it was going to be Witherspoon. He went 5th to Seattle. And then you just had a whole lot of nothing. You know, no other corner went until 16 with Emmanuel Gonzalez to Washington. And I don't think
Manuel Forbes.
Yeah. That's what did I say? Christian Gonzalez?
Emmanuel Gonzalez.
Oh, I'm on like 4 hours of sleep here.
It's early.
Gonna happen. You know, Matt Groh kind of talked about it last night. I think that was just a case of Washington wanted their guy. Those are 2 very different players. They play the game in very different ways. This was, to me, and this was something we had talked about as a possibility. I think it happened in a more extreme form than we could have expected, but there's so much good cornerback talent in this draft. I think only 4 corners went in the first round, right? Yeah, after I was saying there was going to be like 7.
Yeah.
There's so much cornerback talent in this draft. Nobody's taking a cornerback high because, you know, you're going to get a guy like Joey Porter on day 2 now. You're going to get a guy like Cam Smith on day 2, Darius Rush on day 2. These guys fell way down the board. So nobody was in a rush to take corners. And that benefited the Patriots tremendously. I think you saw the opposite happen at tackle. Once one went, you saw them boom, boom, boom. And then Darnell Wright goes off the board high, and teams are panicking to move up to tackle, and a pushed corner down, pushed wide receiver down. That worked out for the Patriots because they wanted a corner. We talked about this. I've been saying this since free agency that they were going to take a corner, and then we heard Matt Groh say last week that they kind of like their tackle group. And as for wide receiver, they don't love the first round in this class. So the board could not have fallen better for them last night. That was an ideal board. To make that trade is the cherry on top. And that is, I remind people, the trade back isn't the problem. It's what you do with it. Yep. That's an example where people are, well, they didn't need to trade back. Okay, well, they did. They still got the guy. They identified they'd still be able to get the guy, which I don't think is a line for Matt Groh. I think they really did that because I could do it. I did it in real time.
Right.
And they picked up an extra pick. Now, I thought the trade would have been 17 and 80 for 14. I think what happened
good
there,
call on you on the Sports Hub. That was
thank you.
Played GM on the spot. That was incredible.
That's when we're doing all. What do you think we're doing when we're doing all these live mock drafts?
Right. No, I know.
And by the way, they do the exact same thing. I don't know if they use the
Right.
PFF simulator, but they sit there and go through this.
Yeah.
I think the reason they got 120 instead of 80 was it was just a buyer's market. Nobody wanted to move up. Everybody wanted to move back. And so if you're the team moving up, right, we always talk about how the team moving up typically overpays. I don't think that was the case, at least in the first round of this draft, because nobody wanted to move up. So they had that advantage.
We were talking about it last night on the CLNS Draft Central show, me, John, and Taylor. And I understand the idea of the draft value chart, and you wanted to get value and the price of picks, etc. Like, I get the premise of it. I'm obviously not as well versed in it as like you are and maybe some others. But at the end of the day, talking about value, if you're sitting there at 14 and whoever's on your board at the time, you can get, and 3 picks later, you could get one of Christian Gonzalez. Say Deonte Banks, they thought was one of their guys. Say Jackson Smith and Jigba, for example. If you know one of them is going to fall to you, you like the player, and you can pick up a fourth in the process, who cares about value charts? That's my thing. Like, who cares? You get your guy, and you get your guy, you get one of the guys you wanted at 14, and then you pick up a fourth, and that's a win-win in my opinion. And they do it with Christian Gonzalez, who, again, was one of the top 5 players on my board for the Patriots.
Well, and look, it's not a gut fit. That is a way you can look at it. Hey, we have 4 guys we really like. We can move back 3 picks, so get one of them. But you can look at it a little more in that, all right, well, so we're going to move back with Pittsburgh at 17. Pittsburgh's not going to take him. Pittsburgh's going to take a tackle. We know he's moving. Right. Although sometimes people ask me this, the Patriots don't ask the Steelers, who are you going to take with this pick? Like, that teams don't do that.
Yeah, right. But they have an idea because the Jets were there and the Jets need tackles, etc.
They do their research. So, okay, Pittsburgh's going to want to tackle. New York's going to want to tackle. Washington might want a corner, but it sounds like from Matt Groh, they had intel that Christian Gonzalez was not the corner they wanted.
Right.
So now you're in that spot where, maybe a team trades up, right? If the Jets trade out, do they trade out to a team that wants Christian Gonzalez? But you look at what's going on all night and you say, nobody's trading up. Nobody wants these picks. They read the situation perfectly.
Yeah, they did. The other interesting, just thinking about the first round in general, and as it fell, Christian Gonzalez obviously was there. A guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba was there, who we thought could be a pick. Zay Flowers was there as well. But, I mean, man, just first round in general, two running backs, Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, go before any wide receivers. There's this huge wait for wide receivers, and then they all go 4 picks in a row with no trades involved. It wasn't like wide receiver went and people started. I mean, maybe the teams panicked, but they went draft order: Jackson Smith and Jigba to Seattle, Quentin Johnson to San Diego. Where the hell do they play?
Los Angeles. It's fine. 2 running backs went in the top 12. It's 1998. They are the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, seriously. Zay Flowers goes to Baltimore, and then Addison goes to Minnesota. 4 picks in a row. The run on wide receivers go. Dalton Kincaid, the only tight end. Michael Mayer doesn't get picked. Will Levis falls down the board. It was, again, you talk about the draft being unpredictable and one of the crazier first rounds, I guess, that a ton of draft pundits had said. It really did fall pretty much different than we might have thought. The Texans moving up for Will Anderson was insane. It was a crazy first round. The other thing too, as I look at the draft board and sort of pick my own brain about what actually freaking happened last night, we talked about the Patriots don't think tackle is as big of a need. They did it with with their actions. They signed Riley Reef, Calvin Anderson. We saw what they did last year at the position. And we listened to Matt Groh last week as well. The second they traded 14, it was like they are fine at tackle in the first round anyway, because Broderick Jones was really the only one left, and they were like, we don't need to take him right now. We can wait 3 more picks. He's probably going to be gone. we're fine to tackle. We'll address it later on in the draft.
Yeah, they actively gave up Broderick
Right.
Jones in that trade, and it's exactly what you just said. Like they like where they're at the spot. Now, I still think they add a tackle at some point.
For sure.
I did a mid-draft mock draft that's up on 98.5thesportshub.com right now. Be kind. I did it at 3:30 in the morning.
I was going to say, did you sleep?
I have them adding a tackle. Yeah, I got to bed I think right at 4:00, and then the adrenaline's got to wear off, and then I got up at 7:45 to kind of get jump started on the stuff for today. So that's fine. Plenty of time to sleep on Monday, Tuesday.
I was going to say, yeah. I think I was
week.
I fell asleep at 2:30, and I thought that was crazy. So I mean, God bless you, Barth. But so that's what happened. So I guess maybe what we can do here is project out how you think Gonzalez, or how we think Gonzalez fits in the defensive backfield, and then we're going to do a quick hitter here, maybe a half hour. But we can also talk about potential day 2 fits, potential day 2 picks that the Patriots can go and get. So looks like Gonzalez will be their boundary cornerback. Now we have Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, also there, Jalen Mills, and did I mention John Jones?
Yeah.
There's too many Joneses.
There's a lot.
Keep it up with them. So how does he fit in this system, and where do they go from here? Does Jalen Mills play safety now? Does Mills play boundary? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'll bring this up to kind of start this comment. Who's an NFL comp? Revis is extreme. I mean, he's that kind of player in terms of the style. I don't know that he's on that level. The guy I look at kind of a realistic, he can be in a year or two is Marlon Humphrey in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. If he truly maxes out, the name I keep going to is Steph Gilmore. Yep. And, it's not to say he's going to be right. That's not to say he's going to be a lock defensive player of the year, but we talked about this leading up, right? There's the ball hawk corners and there's the shutdown corners. There's the guys that are, boom or bust. They're going for picks, but they're going to give up big plays. That's not Gonzalez. Gonzalez is not going to put up numbers because he's just going to lock guys down. He's ideally, right? He's a guy that runs with receivers, shuts down passing windows. He's not going to get targeted. So, again, Gilmore's a little lofty. I hate using that, but that kind of lockdown, bigger physical man corner. He's not a guy that's going to come out and ball hawk. He's not like JC Jackson, right? That's not the kind of player he is. He's more it sucks because every, shutdown man corner the Patriots have at the top of their depth chart is a Hall of Famer, and it's lofty, right. But it's Revis, it's Gilmore, it's Ty Law. It's he actually, he's not quite there, in terms of the physicality of it, but there is a little Aqib Talib in his game. That might be one, actually, I think is a realistic comp. It sucks because a big part of Aqib Talib was he's nasty, right? He'd come up and punch in the mouth, and maybe Gonzalez gets there. I think the biggest thing with him when he comes in is they're going to drill into him the run. He's not a big contributor against the run. He's not a big tackler. And look, a lot of teams don't care about that at corner. The Patriots have cared about that for years. I think they're going away from that because the same was true for Jack Jones. Jack Jones and Marcus Jones as well. Not big run game players at the cornerback position. But with Christian Gonzalez, you're getting a lockdown corner, a guy who's a tremendous athlete, so smooth, glides all over the field. And he's very explosive. So he can be a step behind when the ball is thrown. And he has that pop to put his foot in the ground and get off and close the window. And as his instincts continue to improve, he's only going to get better and better and better with that. How he fits in the overall grand scheme of things, I love having him and Jack Jones as your two boundary corners because you have both of those styles. Jack Jones is very much a ball hawk, that JC Jackson type, boom or bust. He's going to go for the big play every time. And one's not, I think shutdown's better, but some people would argue that the ball hawk's better. You have both, and you can scheme that, and you can game plan with that. So I really like that. When the Patriots are at their best, they have 3 top boundary corners. I go back to that 2017, 2018 defense, right? Where they had Stephon Gilmore on one side and JC Jackson on the other, and Malcolm Butler on the other at one point. But they also had Jason McCourty, who was rotating in there in the third corner as the third corner. So to me, now you have this rotation with Christian Gonzalez, Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones, but you have the flexibility to play Jonathan Jones at safety if you want to, which I think they might want to do. This certainly frees up Jalen Mills to play safety, which was the report that he was going to do. You have Marcus Jones in the slot full time. You can now, though, if you need to, move Jonathan Jones back into the slot. Their best group, and I love Marcus Jones, but I think their best group right now is Christian Gonzalez and Jack Jones on the boundary with Jonathan Jones in the slot. And if you need to go, but you got to face Miami twice a year. You can now put Jonathan Jones and Marcus Jones on the field at the same time to deal with those faster receivers. And not that Christian Gonzalez is slow, but keep size on the field by putting Christian Gonzalez out there. So
that's where the amoeba and the flexibility comes into play with guys like Mills and Jones. That's going to be huge.
Yeah. I felt, coming in their cornerback room was a piece away, a glaring piece away. So I think it's a very logical fit. He fits stylistically. He fits personnel-wise, into the picture. There's a very clear role for him. That's something I always say about the first round. What is the path to playing time? What is the role? How does he come in and make an impact? And it's very clear. I just laid it all out, right? What they're going to do with Christian Johnson, what his role should be. And yeah, they got a guy that absolutely they have. This is another thing we talked about leading up, right? We did it mostly tight end, but upgrade versus addition. Are you simply getting better at something you already do, or are you adding something you don't have? Christian Gonzalez is an addition. This is an element their defense has now that it did not have at this time yesterday. And that, if you do that in the first round at whatever position, you add rather than upgrade, you've done a fantastic job.
100%. It's a slam dunk. It was outstanding the way that the whole thing fell for them last night. Two things as far as Gonzalez goes that I question for you, and that's something I want to point out too. You talk about just prototypical Patriots guys, and someone who just fits the mold as far as personality, and I think he fits that to a T as well. When we talked to him last night, and I asked him, I was like, "Were you surprised that you fell to 17?" And some I guess cocky, snarky cornerback ones would be like, I fell there, and I'm here to prove people wrong. And he was just even keel, it happens. I'm here, and everything happens for a reason. He was just excited to play for the Patriots. So I think again, he is a prototypical, a good guy for their system. And then the other question about
I just on that real quick, and again, I hate to put this much on this kid's plate right away, but Stephon Gilmore was like that. Stephon Gilmore,
yes, yep.
We think of the loud, vocal,
like a Richard Sherman,
right? I don't want to say he wasn't confident, because Stephon Gilmore was incredibly confident, but it was a quiet confidence. It was just when he had his scrums in the locker room. This was back pre-COVID. We'd all just surround him in his locker, so you'd be 3, 4, 5 people deep. He's whispering. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to shut him down. I'm the best corner in the league." So, but then he'd come out and do it. And it was like, oh man, I remember talking to one player face and was like, yeah, it's scary, because you're so used to a guy trash talking, and he's just over there looking at you, not saying anything. And I mean, it's one introductory press conference. We'll talk to him again later today, and we'll get to know him, as the season goes on. But I did kind of get that vibe from Christian Gonzalez that it's just a quiet 100%. Killer kind of confidence. So just because the guy's not Richard Sherman doesn't mean that he's not a good corner. I like the quiet killer. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vibe I got from the other thing. Speaking of Stephon Gilmore, speaking of Revis, speaking of Ty Law, does Christian Gonzalez wear number 24 and get in the line of CB1 Patriots with number 24? Or does he wear number 0 because Jack Jones says he's 13 and Gonzalez wears 0? What are your thoughts on his jersey number?
That's a great question.
24 would be very interesting if they gave it
24 would be interesting, but it is taken because Joshua Bledsoe has it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As for 0, we know what number Christian Gonzalez is going to wear right away. It's going to be 50. Because they do that in training camp. So does Jack Jones get 0 before Christian Gonzalez can take it? In high school, at Colorado, he wore 3 and 21. 3's taken, right? It's Jalen Mills. Oh, no, Jalen Mills is 2. Who's 3?
Yes.
No, there is no 3. No, Pepper switched to 5.
He switched to 5. There is no 3.
So he wore 3 in high school. He wore 3 and 21 in college. Who's 21's Phillips?
Yep.
I don't know that 3 makes it through camp unassigned. But at this point, But at this point, they have everybody.
Right.
They have all their veterans. I think all their free agents have numbers. Hang on, let me look this up because this is a very important conversation.
And speaking on that too, as far as Jack Jones, if he gets it before him, I don't know if you saw it, but last night Jack Jones tweeted, "I'm number 13." So I think he basically is saying, like, I don't want 0. I'm sticking with 13. I don't
Oh,
want
I
to
thought
pay
he
for the
wanted the
change.
donut. He tweeted
No,
about the donut.
he tweeted about the donut, and then last night he basically changed course and said, I'm number 13. So 0 is going to be
So
open for Gonzalez.
0. All right, yeah. So, 13, if Jack Jones switches, he gets 13. If not, it looks, unless James Robinson, the only players without a number right now are James Robinson, Chris Board, Gonzalez, and okay. Like, as cool as it would be for Christian Gonzalez to get 0, and what I would say the O to remind everybody he's from Oregon, Corliss Waitman wearing number 0 would be sick.
That would be hilarious.
The backup punter wearing 0.
Hilarious.
Well, I guess he's still the starter. We'll see if they draft somebody, but I think I would prefer Corliss Waitman get it to Christian Gonzalez. Honestly,
interesting.
That would just be great.
Yeah,
that would be just a punter number 0 would be a ton of fun.
Before we continue on, I want to talk about FanDuel because FanDuel is the lead sponsor of not only Patriots Beat but the CLNS Media Network. And yes, we're in full swing with NFL draft season, and yes, we're betting on the NFL draft. But grand slams, no hitters, and double plays are also back because the MLB is back, and there is no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook, and they are also the official partner of Major League Baseball. New customers in Massachusetts can get $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 wager. All you got to do is sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston, and you can bet on all your favorite sports from the money lines, point spreads, to player props, and more. The app is super safe, easy to use. Bonus bets, like I said, come up right on the screen, and then they also have promos every single day that you can bet with boosted odds. Like I said, the app is awesome, so don't miss your chance to get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/Boston and make every moment more. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball and America's #1 sportsbook. All right, so they bring in Christian Gonzalez at 17, grab their #1 corner, and they also pick up a 4th. Tonight is rounds 2 and 3. They have pick 46, which is 15th overall, and then they have pick 76 today. They have 4 4th-round picks to work with. As far as trade-ups, they also have 4 6th, and a 7th.
Yep.
What should they do? There's guys on the board. We've talked about it. Darnell Washington, tight end, scheme fit, I love. Josh Downs, wide receiver from UNC. Brian Branch, if they want to add even more. DeJuan Jones. There's a lot of guys. Matthew Bergeron. I don't know if they're going to necessarily trade up for Bergeron, but that's a day 2 tackle that they could look at. Blake Freeland. There's plenty of guys here. So what's the idea? Because, and sorry to cut you off again and not let you speak, but when we talked to Mac Rowe last night, Mac Rowe said we picked 15th, and he basically said we picked up the 4th and we have a lot of ammo to work with here. That's paraphrasing, but he basically said we have a lot of currency is the word he used, alluding to the fact that they could trade up. They've traded up in the last 5 second rounds. So what's the deal? What are they going to do?
First of all, I cut you off plenty, so that's fine.
That's all good.
They're moving up. They are moving up. I think they pick well before the 15th pick tonight. Do they get into the 30s? Do they go into the high 40s? How far do they move up? That's the question. The guys I look at, Brian Branch is a fantastic fit for them. I don't see them going secondary 1-2 here.
Right.
I don't. I think they like the group they have. Like I said, they were 1 player away. I think Darnell Washington is totally a possibility. I could see them taking Darnell Washington over Michael Mayer because
he fits
Christian Gonzalez felt like a very Matt Groh pick. So we got to go with the Matt Groh playbook, which is good combine testers, elite, rare athletes, that size, speed combination, things like that. Those are the guys Matt Groh likes, right? So I think Darnell Washington makes a lot of sense if they move up. You were talking about tackles, Matthew Bergeron. They're not moving up for Bergeron. I would hope not. Right. The guy you move up for here is DeJuan Jones.
100%.
Do they go up to, the late 30s and get DeJuan Jones as their long-term right tackle? And then Josh Downs would be the other one for me. Do they move up and maybe get him, make a run at him? Those would be the 3 guys. And then the edge guys. I think edge is always a possibility on day 2. Keon White, Adibare, the kid from Northwestern. That to me are the guys I'm watching for them to move up for here.
A player that they could have, or was on my radar at 14, was Nolan Smith. I thought there was a chance that Nolan Smith fell out of the first round last night before the Eagles.
Yeah, I was looking like it.
That was quite the fall.
The Eagles have this brilliant strategy of just drafting national champions.
It's
so you had to know he wasn't going to buy. But Where's the flaw in that?
Oh, no, I know. It's great. What do they have? Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
Who's the other?
Jordan
Jordan
Davis.
Davis, and now Nolan Smith from that Georgia defense for 2 years.
Look,
that's insane.
If all
In
the
a good
players,
way. Insane
if
in a
all the
good way.
players in the NFL are coming from college, and you draft all the players from the best college team, you're probably going to have a pretty good team, right?
Right.
So, future Eagle Stetson Bennett. But those are the guys.
Yes, good answer. Good answer.
I was waiting for you to react to that.
Sorry,
those are the guys I look at on the for them. I think tight end Darnell Washington, tackle DeJuan Jones, wide receiver Josh Down, or one of these edge guys, Keon White at Abare. Those would be the guys I think they maybe make a move for. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it was Brian Branch, because I just think in a bubble they probably love him as a player. I'm sure he got a really good review from Nick Saban, all of that. It's just, do they go secondary back to back? That's if it wasn't that, I would be like, if they had gone, let's say they took Broderick Jones at 14, I would be saying, we'd be talking about Joey Porter, but I would be like, absolutely, Brian Branch is in play here.
Right. Just looking at, best available, at least according to ESPN, other guys, Cody Maw, Jalen Hyatt, potentially, wide receiver.
At that point, go Jonathan with Mingo. Mims or Tillman or Mingo. I like all those guys better for that. Hyatt just is so similar to Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, he is.
You don't need two of those guys. Yeah.
He won the Biletnikoff this year, didn't he?
Yeah, because he torched Alabama.
Yeah, fair. Will Levis is still on the board, Alex. I know, right. And I'm not talking about it Patriots-wise, but thoughts on the Levis fall in general? Because, again, a guy who, at least according to Reddit, and I know that doesn't mean anything, but there was a little bit of smoke there. Not smoke. It's not smoke.
No, there was nothing. It was Reddit. It was some idiot in his basement saying, I want to push the odds in Vegas.
He was considered a top 5 pick.
By who? Not by me.
Mock drafters.
Not by the people that knew. Remember, Mike Giardi had that tweet. There were teams that did not have a first-round grade on him.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Said this in the beginning. I never, forget the top half of the draft, I never understood why Will Levis was considered a first-round pick. I never understood that. I thought I was going to be wrong because NFL teams are dumb about quarterbacks.
Right.
They got it right. Now, day 2 has a high upside. Like you talk about, like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts pick. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense because there is a lot of physical ability there to work with, but he's so far away. You couldn't use a first-round pick on him. You couldn't. And the team's got it right. Now, I think he goes really early today. Somebody's going to jump up and get him. But
yeah. What about Michael Mayer? Thoughts on the Michael Mayer fall?
Yeah, I think he's his game's a bit, I don't know if dated's the right word. Like he's a big bully tight end who's going to block a lot. He's a good chain mover, but I don't think he's a field stretcher. I think teams want more explosive players. I think they want guys that stretch the field, that get downfield, that can contribute more in the passing game.
Right.
Exactly. And I think
I like the fit for him in Buffalo too. I love Kincaid in Buffalo. Yeah, they have Dawson Knox. Yeah, they may have been able to be fine with Knox at the position, but I think Kincaid just adds another high quality pass catcher to Diggs and Gabe Davis. And I know you hate the Bills, so you're probably looking right through me. But I think
I just don't understand it because they said they drafted him as a slot receiver, not as a tight end, which we talked about this with some of these more athletic tight ends. But if you were just trying to get a slot receiver in there, all the top slot receivers are gone. So we took the best slot receiver. Take Josh Downs.
Yeah, right. And don't trade up.
And don't trade up. So I don't know. He's not a bad fit, but if that's what they were trying to do, man, there was a much better pick they could have made.
Hendon Hooker's still on the board as well. Is he a better quarterback prospect than Will Levis, in your opinion?
Depends on the team. If you're a team that's starting from scratch, Levis has all the upside, so you go with him. But for teams that maybe feel like they're a quarterback away or want high-level quarterback insurance, again, the Raiders are a team I've talked about in this regard, right? Where if and when Jimmy gets hurt, and that's not to say Hooker has no upside. Like, he's going to be a guy for 4 or 5 years here at least.
Right.
I think the Raiders, the Vikings are another team with Kirk Cousins in the last year of his deal, where Hooker, at the very least, takes over next year, maybe beats him out. And I don't think his hold on that job is maybe super secure. But, if I got to pull up. So those are the teams I see for Hooker. If you're a team like the Lions, right, where you're still kind of building it, you don't know what you're going to do with Jared Goff and his contract. I think
The
you say
Lions are going to trade up today for Jake Hayner. That's what they're going to do because that's just what they're doing.
The Lions are going to draft a fullback because it's 1998. Right. If you're a team like the Lions, if you're a team like the Seahawks, who is a couple years now with Geno Smith to develop a guy, like that's a really good spot for Will Levis. The Saints wouldn't be a bad spot for Will Levis. So I think it depends on the team. Remember, my big, bold prediction before the draft was that Hendon Hooker would go ahead of Will Levis. I think it comes down to team. I think it comes down to what kind of team is on the board looking for a quarterback, what their situation is.
Yeah. So that's basically what we've got for you all today. Patriots, quick hitter again. But the Patriots, I say win the first round. Yeah, you could say the Texans, and maybe.
Yeah, it was the Texans.
Yeah.
It was the Texans got the best two players in the draft. The Texans won the round. The Patriots did very well. I think the Patriots had the I had them with the third best draft.
Behind Texans and who?
The Texans and the Eagles.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then I'll go with Patriots. I don't get Devin Witherspoon. You have Tariq Woolen. I also don't think Witherspoon's a scheme fit there, as good of a player as he is. I was a little confused by that one. No, the Patriots, and as we all know, according to Ryan Leaf, Will Levis won the first round. But
ridiculous.
No, Patriots had a top 3 draft. They did very well.
Yeah, they did.
Although nobody had a better second round than the first round than the Detroit Lions.
Man, when we were live on CLNS Draft Central, and when we saw that Jahmyr Gibbs went 12, me and Taylor's faces were I took a video of it because it was hysterical.
I lost it.
Me too. It's like you could have. They had what, 12 and then 18, I think.
Yeah,
they could have easily had him at 18. Again, in my opinion, right? That's with a grain of salt because I thought Will Levis had a chance to go to top 3, but
they had to take Jack Campbell at 18.
Well, it doesn't make sense. It's like 2 running backs go before wide receivers. Running backs are just the value is so shot in the league for running backs, and even Atlanta at 8 was like, okay, Bijan is like a different back. He is like, and I know you have Gibbs over Bijan for a while, but it felt like they could have got him later. It felt like they have much bigger needs. They have DeAndre Swift. They just signed David Montgomery.
There was a report last week that they were looking to trade DeAndre Swift. It kind of flew under the radar, but that was out there at one point.
It's just, again, that was just such a bizarre move by the Lions. Both of them.
Dan Campbell had his draft. Dan Campbell had a Campbell draft. Look, Jahmyr Gibbs is insanely talented. He is. You could argue he's one of the 15 most talented players in this draft. Just pure talent. I think so. And they have a really good offensive mind there in Ben Johnson. So getting a guy like that, a versatile weapon like Gibbs, I'm more bothered by the Campbell pick. That one I don't get at all. There's no place for him in this game. He's age is the game's passing him by. I don't know. Maybe just Dan Campbell wanted a guy named Campbell. He thought it would be cool, like a big fighting linebacker.
Do you think they had any intel that the Patriots were going to take Gibbs at 14?
It's possible. I think the Patriots had Gibbs high on their board. I don't know about that high. I don't know that they would have had him above Gonzalez, but I would be shocked if the Patriots had no interest in Jahmyr Gibbs in this draft.
There was a video of Detroit's draft room of them going ballistic when they took Gibbs at 12, as if holy crap, thank God he fell. Oh, he's here. And it's like they're going crazy and high fives and chest. And it's like he was, I don't know, who picked 11? Tennessee? Tennessee was not taking Jahmyr Gibbs. That was just bizarre. That was
they might have. They started getting running backs mocked to them a lot late with the Derrick Henry rumors.
Yeah.
No, the worst one was the Jets freaking out over getting I don't know. Will McDonald's a top 50 player.
No.
I don't know that he is. Second round pick, but I don't know if he's a top 50 player. They loved that.
A bizarre first round in general. But the Patriots, again, come away with Christian Gonzalez, my top corner, Barth's top corner, a potential in any other mock simulator, a top 10 pick. If the draft went over 99 times out of 100, I feel like he's at least a top 15 pick, and he falls to the Patriots at 17. So there you have it. Again, I say at least one of three winners of the draft in the New England Patriots. And so
Yeah.
we have day 2 coming up today. Rounds 2 and 3. Patriots hold picks 46 and 76. Probably a trade up. We'll see what happens there. But I do want to. What are you smirking at? Anything good? You see something?
No, I'm having fun.
Oh, let's go. Good. We're sponsored by FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Boston. Go to it for $200 in bonus bets when you bet your first $5 wager. And that's basically that. That's the first round recap. Patriots win it. 2 picks today. Me and Alex, should things get crazy, which they probably will because back row's on one. He has the last few weeks. We're going to try and come back tomorrow morning for a Patriots Beat edition. We'll let you know on Twitter. If not, we'll recap the whole thing early next week. We'll let you know. So follow us on Twitter, at Mike Kadlick, at Real Alex Barth. We'll keep you updated on when we're going to be here next. And that's it. That's what we got. Patriots. Yeah. Christian Gonzalez. Good stuff.
Feels good. So I'll tell you.
I was going to say, any parting words before we get out of here, just on what the heck happened last night? We're still working on no sleep, but
it was a lot easier getting up today on 3 hours sleep than it was this day last year. I'll say that.
Yeah, with Cole Strange. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Nothing against Cole, but
no, it's nothing against Cole Strange.
Like, they just took the best player on the board.
Right.
They simply were there. The best player. They took him. You move on. It's easy, seamless, no drama. A little bit of drama with the trade back, but a little bit of drama is fine. A little bit of drama is good.
So me and Alex will be at Gillette Stadium later on today. Assistant coaches talking, and then Christian Gonzalez at 5 p.m. with a nice photo up on the field. So, again, follow along on Twitter for all our updates and Patriots coverage. And until probably tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., we'll let you know. But we will see you guys next time. Thank you all for getting up with us, drinking your coffee with us. We had almost 600 in here today, so we appreciate it.